Hello.
What is this? It's just like,
It's my YouTube channel hobby. I like to chat with people about whatever they want to talk about. And I ask questions to help me learn and have them think through it.
is it like a devil's advocate thing? Or like, do you just like, you're curious about the opinion or do you challenge it too?
I do challenge it a little bit with questions. I try to keep my opinion out of it,
That's what, yeah.
but I do want to help us both together explore how we could know.
Okay, I'm down to do it.
All right.
Thank
Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
See, I like to talk about stuff, so.
Awesome.
Okay, hi.
Hi, how are you doing today?
I'm good. How are you? It's finals week here, so.
I hear that. How's yours been going so far?
It's pretty laxed. I'm a graduate student here, so I'm my final presentations are done, but I have stuff due still to submit. So
Gotcha.
yeah.
Cool. Do you mind if I record and stream? Is that cool?
Yeah, that's okay.
Thank you.
Is this to me?
Yeah, it's to both of us.
Oh, okay.
Want to do headphones?
Sure.
Check, check. Hello.
Hello.
Hey, hey. Yeah, so you're done with your presentations and stuff. Could I get your first name?
Samantha.
Samantha. My name is Reed. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
Gotcha. Yeah, so you're a graduate student. What are you studying?
I'm studying urban planning.
Urban
Getting my
planning?
master's in urban planning,
Wow.
focusing on community economic development.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Nice. Love it. And yeah, I've been here, coming here for the past few weeks, once a week or so. It's been a lot of fun.
Cool.
Getting a lot of great conversations.
Has it been more like constructive, or has it been like, have you like gotten into it with anyone?
No,
It's just been very
very cordial.
That's
very
good.
friendly. Yeah.
That's how it should be.
Yeah. That's what I try to make it be.
Mhm.
And yeah, did you see any topics over there that looked interesting, or anything else you want to chat about?
Yeah. So, from what stood out to me was the vaccine mandate, sex and gender, critical race theory, and what else was over there? I think those three for sure.
All right.
Starting with.
Starting with those. Which one's most interesting to talk about?
I'd say
What do you have the strongest opinion about?
I don't feel like I have. Well, I'm very passionate about critical race theory, but I would say that I probably have the most to say about maybe sex and gender,
Okay.
because I'm a woman, and I'm very passionate. I'm very proud to be a woman, and I feel like I'm very strong in my values as an educated woman. So yeah, I'm a feminist for sure.
Feminist.
Yeah, and I feel like more people should be feminists, including men and other folks, not just women,
Okay.
because I feel like it benefits everyone to kind of take down misogyny and the patriarchy.
You'd make the claim everyone should be a feminist.
Yeah,
Okay.
I think so.
We could talk about that.
Mhm.
All right. And we could put it in a question: should everyone be a feminist? And on the right side for your confidence is absolutely sure, yes,
Yeah.
or not sure, or absolutely no.
I think absolutely.
Absolutely. Great. And cool. What do you mean by feminist? What's a good definition of that?
To me, a feminist is just somebody who is. Let me think about this. To me, a feminist is someone who focuses on the betterment in society for women. And I think that it focuses on oh, we're live, I don't want to say anything. You know
No,
what? I'm just
no
going to say
worries.
what I think. But
Yeah, go
yeah,
ahead.
I think that being a feminist to me is about focusing on breaking down the barriers that have systemically been put by society to kind of keep women submissive in society. So focusing on breaking those. Yeah.
Breaking down the barriers of
Mhm.
systemic sexism. Is that fair? Or other barriers? Is that just the one?
I mean, I feel like there's other barriers. It's not, I guess it's not just sexism, but I mean, they may all lead to sexism. Yeah.
Just barriers in general in society that are systemic. Whoever focuses on that is a feminist,
Yeah. So it's not about like,
even if they're not related to issues related to gender or sex.
like education, for example.
If someone tried to break down barriers for like access to education, that's a feminist thing?
It could be a feminist thing.
It could be.
Yeah.
All right.
There's a lot of things that are feminist issues that are not directly related to sex or gender. Like food security, for example,
Okay.
right? Domestic abuse is one that, of course, is talked about a lot with gender. But just like safe communities, too, could be a feminist issue.
Okay. These are just issues that feminists care about, or is it a feminist issue?
I think it's issues. I mean, what's the difference between those
I don't
statements,
know.
right? I feel like it's very similar. It's a lot of things don't have to be a specific issue for you to care about it, but yeah.
Yeah, what's an issue that feminism wouldn't care about?
I wouldn't say that there's something that like, well,
Where it's very low priority?
I feel like it's like a low priority thing for a feminist issue. That's an interesting question. I never thought about like what. Maybe like low priority would be. I can't think of anything like I don't care about. Like I feel like everything could be a priority.
Yeah, everything could be a priority
Yeah.
as a feminist issue.
If there's, just because I feel like systemically and like based on society, for the most part, there are distinctions between like how far a man could be successful in something versus a woman, So,
Is that like a cultural stereotype thing?
it could be a cultural stereotype. It could also be noticed in different like ethnicities. Like for example, I'm Mexican, and I feel like we have something called machismo, which is basically that like the man runs the household, provides financially, and that should be enough because the woman takes care of the rest of the stuff in the household. And so like breaking down that traditional role of things.
The traditional division of labor in a family.
Yeah.
The machismo man being the guy, like the breadwinner, and the woman being the household person dealing with the house and the kids.
Yeah.
We would like to change that so neither men or women are expected to go into either of these roles.
Right. Or just like, like it, of course, every relationship is different, but I feel like focusing on what works for a household and not having that expectation.
Yeah,
right?
you're not a worse person for not following that. If that makes sense. For living up to that
Yeah.
cultural expectation. Okay. So yeah, the issue around feminism, what is like a big problem that's a problem that feminism wouldn't really care too much about, or it would be a low priority? You're saying there is really no problem that feminism can't tackle or help tackle?
Yeah, I don't want to say like there's something that I don't care about, because I feel like it's not like, oh, this isn't a problem. Because I would argue, like if you were to give me something and say like, is this low priority? I would argue that it could still be, like it's not that I don't care about it. I can't think of anything that I don't
Like maybe
focus on.
is climate change a feminist issue?
I never thought about that. I mean, I feel like it's still something that's important to care about, but maybe from a feminist perspective, I can't say that it's,
Yeah.
maybe that would be a low priority from a feminist perspective.
And maybe feminism is one answer to a broader potential question of like, what's the best way to, what are the best set of ideas and values to make the world a better place? And feminism is one potential answer to that question.
Yeah. So for me, when I talk about feminism, I'm focused more on like the societal differences, right? It's not. I'm not saying climate change is not important. I'm just saying from a feminist perspective, maybe that would be a low priority because I don't see the direct connection right now. Yeah.
A feminist perspective.
But when it comes to like certain, like environmental justice could be a feminist issue because, you know, if women have to raise their children in different environments, especially places with low quality open access parks, or, you know, like there's toxins in the environment and like children are breathing that air, it could be a feminist issue. Or like if they have children, you know, and sometimes even those toxins in the environment affects women's bodies and like
with pregnancy potentially
and their ability to have children and things like that. So that could be a feminist issue, but that, you know, that's not like directly climate change, but like environmental justice as a whole.
So the feminist perspective is a kind of lens that you can use to kind of focus on any problem and find the relevance that problem has with women's issues.
Yeah, I'd say so. But then I know that the initial like theme here was sex and gender.
Yeah.
And I feel like I'm thinking like if someone were to challenge me about different genders, right? Like, but I think that's where, just because you're a woman and you identify as a woman and you were born female doesn't mean that like it's just a feminist thing, right? Like you can have allies of different sex and genders, right, within feminism. But I was curious, so you have sex and gender, sex versus gender, or what was it?
Yeah, sex versus gender. That's getting very ambiguous these
days. So like the
days.
Definition, right? So like the way that I understand it is sex is how you were born, male, female, or intersex, right?
Yeah.
Gender is how you feel and how you identify.
Gender's how you feel and identify. That's more personal gender, and sex is more biology.
Sex is biological. Gender is, I guess, like your soul. Like, how do you feel in your essence?
Your soul.
Right?
It's like, it's basically like a soul thing.
It could be. I don't think it's like a personality trait. It's like who you feel at your essence, right? Who you are.
Okay.
Yeah.
And the two main categories for these ways people can be, what are is it women and man, woman and man?
For gender or sex?
For gender.
For gender, I know there's tons.
Oh, there's many.
Still, there's many. As far as I know there's woman, man, then there's like gender fluid. But I think Facebook added, well now it's Meta, whatever. When it was Facebook, they added like hundreds of like genders, I think.
Yeah.
I can't say I understand every single one, but one thing I do understand is who am I to tell someone else how they feel? Or like, if you want to identify as this, and it's not, I don't see how it would hurt me, you know. Like if someone presents as a male, but they say they're a woman, and they identify as a woman, who am I to challenge that? If that's how you feel, I'm going to respect that. Do I fully understand it? Not that I understand it, but do I identify and do I relate to that? No. But that, I feel like me not relating to it doesn't give me the okay to disrespect or challenge it, right? Because I would hate for someone to challenge me on something that I feel very strongly about how I identify myself. So I respect when people say, you know, I respect, and that comes with even something simple like pronouns, and that's why it's such a big topic now, like, because let's say that, for example, I did identify as a man, and I wanted people to refer to me as he, him. It's a simple, respectful thing, right? But sometimes it's not that simple for others, and I think it comes from like the way that people's opinions of things. So if someone doesn't agree with different genders, they probably don't care to consider your pronouns, right? And that's also similar with like ethnic names. Like, for example, if I have a friend, her name is Anaí, and it could be hard to pronounce for folks who don't speak Spanish. And let's say she corrects someone, like, actually, this is how you pronounce my name. and the other person continues to use the mispronunciation, that's disrespectful, and that's also showing like I don't value your name and I don't value like your culture, because it's not that hard to try to say what other people identify as.
Okay.
You know?
So that's like an analogy for the pronouns. Like
Yeah.
A certain kind
Focusing,
of name.
just on like example for the name.
So the pronouns are really connected more to an identity, personal thing.
Mm-hmm. Not how you think, not how you see the individual.
Yeah, like my parents gave me my name, and like it's on my birth certificate. And if I wanted to say, potentially change my name, and I could say, no, I'm this person now. I'm like John. And I'd say that to my friends, like, no, you're actually Reed. They would say, that's your name. But it is really my choice to change it, potentially.
Yeah, you can change your name if you want to, right? Like
the same way people can change their gender.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. That is a thing people can do to change their gender. Because it's a personal thing.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. But people change their sex?
I would say no, because that's how you're born.
How you're born.
You can't change how you were born.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do we need gender at all as a thing to think about? Can we just use people's names to know who they are?
Yeah, I think we could use people's names, but then I feel like if I would still want to be identified as a woman, like don't think that I would want to get rid of it. Even if generally, like, women could be more oppressed to a man, like, I'm still proud to be a woman, right? So I wouldn't want to get rid of my gender, because I feel like it's a huge part of who I am and my identity.
It's a part of who you are?
Yeah.
Okay. How so? Like, it's about oppression in some way? It's like solidarity around oppression?
Yeah, or
is that fair?
Solidarity, and then I just feel like it's fun to be a woman, like just the culture of being a woman. Like, I wouldn't say the culture, but like, I guess it is like solidarity in being a woman, and like, I can see other women around everywhere, and I can connect with them on our experience as being a woman,
Okay. You can connect. It's a way to connect with other people, other women. By being a woman and meeting up with other women, you can connect in that way.
I feel like you can, yeah. The same way, like, I would assume, right, I'm not a man, but like men can connect on different ways, right? And being a man, right?
Yeah.
And like just like the assumed shared interest that both of those genders may have, like, you may be able to also connect with those interests, right? Not all the time, but sometimes.
Yeah, you can connect with people because they share interests. Birds of a feather flock together, that type of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, and I feel like it wouldn't make sense to get rid of gender because, it's just, I think it's important to have.
It's important to have. All right. I want to recheck in on time. How you feeling? Want to keep going, or how would you want to wrap it up?
Yeah, I'm curious. Like, well, I guess the point of this is you ask me the questions, Mom. Like, it's not your opinion.
Yeah.
I want to know.
You can ask me an opinion if you want.
What do you think about like sex versus gender? Do you think it's essential to have several genders? Do you agree, or do you think that there's only the genders that align with the sex assigned at birth?
I think both sex and gender are biological. Sex is entirely biological. Gender is socially constructed on biological categories.
Okay.
From the male and female. And the sex roles in humans have evolved over time, and we do certain things for biological reasons, like dress and certain mating behavior that's connected to gender.
Mm-hmm.
And that's very fluid culturally. although it's still connected down to the gene level for the primary ultimate cause of the differences. It still boils down to that, but I could be wrong.
Okay. Let's do one more. I think.
Okay.
What's another one that was on there? There's one that was like a big problem no one's talking about. I have to think about that. I can't think of a big problem no one's talking about.
There's the vaccine mandate thing, the critical race theory thing.
Probably don't want to get into that one. I'll be here all day.
All right. Astrology, religion.
Astrology. Let's talk about that one.
Oh, you want to do that?
Yeah, that's fun.
Okay.
What's your sign?
Well,
do you know your sign?
I'll keep my sign out of it
Oh,
for
okay.
now.
Okay.
We can ask the broad question, is astrology true? Is that the fair question to ask about it?
True in what sense? Like
an accurate model of whatever it claims is the case?
I would say that it does have the stars and space do have an influence on humans on Earth.
Yeah, astrology would claim that the stars and the planets have influence on human being personalities. Is that, or in some other ways?
I would say that they do.
It's mainly about the personality?
Well, there's different types of signs, right? So we have our sun sign, our moon sign, our rising sign, and then there's a bunch of other ones. They all kind of play a role in who you are as a person. And I do think that they influence you. Is it like, because I'm a Leo, for example, I'm gonna do this? Like, it's not like you can directly cutthroat, like, identify someone for what they are or their sign, but I think it just plays an influence and a role. Same way, like, nature and nurture. Like, the way that you were raised versus the way that you, your genes versus your built environment and the way that you were raised and influenced by your family and friends both play a role, right? Can we blame it on one or the other? No, but there's an influence, just a general influence. And I feel like that's how astrology is, because I just think of like the way that the moon plays a role in a lot of like natural processes, right?
Yeah.
So I'm like, how is it that, for example, the moon, the different types of phases of the moon plays a role in like the way turtles are born. But there's no way it's going to affect humans, you know? That's how I think about it.
Okay. So astrology is a natural hypothesis for why people are different?
It could be one reason, one influence.
One factor. That influences how people are.
Mm-hmm.
Is the influence of the planets and the stars. And the moon? And the sun?
Yeah, it's all of that.
All of that.
Mm-hmm. And like you said, the different planets. Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, what's the best example of a planet or a star or the moon influencing people's behavior or personality?
Well, one could be just the fact that like the moon, different phases of the moon align with like a woman's menstrual cycle. Right? And so that also, yeah.
Okay. Phases of the moon aligns with women's menstrual cycle. Okay.
That's a connection. Is that astrology? I don't know. But I'm just arguing that astrology, or not arguing, but I'm just saying that our astrology does have an influence on individuals. How strong or how weak it is, I can't say. But I do notice patterns like with different types of signs, and it's not like, for example, I'm not going to discriminate on someone because they are a certain sign. But I do feel like there is, like, I don't know if you're familiar, but there's like earth signs, air, water signs, and fire signs. And they all generally share different characteristics and personality traits. And based off the people that I know and what I know about their signs, I feel like it's some influence. It's not cutthroat, like because you're this, you are this way. But I do think that it does have some slight influence on us.
Okay. So if you really knew what the signs were and what they said each person was going to be like based on their sign, and like 100 people came up here and sat down, and you could ask them any question you wanted, could you point out, or could like an expert in astrology accurately predict what their sign was based on whatever they needed to do to learn their personality?
I feel like an expert could, because they would also consider that it's not just one sign that influences who you are. Like I mentioned, we have several different types of signs. Sun, as far as I know, there's sun, moon, rising, and then you have a sign for every planet that from when you were born. Like the placement of that planet from when you were born plays a role in your personality. So it's deeper than just your one sign that people say, like, oh, what are you? There's so many more.
Yeah, your whole set of signs.
Yeah, it's your chart.
Your whole chart.
Mm-hmm. So I feel like an expert, I can't. Okay. I don't know that extent. But I feel like an expert would be able to be more accurate.
Okay. If we had like a whole, like 10 experts in astrology, 1,000 people, and like each expert is in one room, and all the people just go into the room, and the expert is allowed to ask as many questions as they want of the person without knowing what their actual birth date is, or where they were born, just
or their
other
signs,
stuff,
right?
Or just their signs. We're saying we could predict that the experts would accurately match the people to their signs.
I think so, or maybe even just their general the group of sign that they are.
Yeah, their chart.
Yeah.
Great. All right. If we did that test and it turned out they couldn't do it better than chance, hypothetically, I don't know if that's going to happen. Would that have any effect on your confidence in astrology?
I mean, like I said, I don't live my life based on what the stars and the moon is saying. I just like to read it for fun, and I think it's interesting, and I feel like it has been studied for several, since the beginning of time, right? Since they've been tracking the stars. So I feel like it's just something that's interesting, and I'm like, there's no way that this has no influence, and that it's completely BS if people have been studying it and tracking it, right? And so, no, it wouldn't change how I see it, because like I said, I don't live by it. I just use it to kind of read for fun and generally understand different types of signs and how they function, right?
Yeah. Well, what does it do for you? It helps you in which ways?
I just think it's interesting to read, and I feel like there are certain connections, at least with my signs, that are connected with who I am as my personality. And so I think it's just interesting to understand those different how the different signs influence or are connected to different personality traits.
Is it a way to help you find out who you are yourself?
No.
Well, the signs say stuff about people who are the signs, and you're resonating with what it's saying?
For the most part, I do, for my signs, yeah.
Okay. And that's just a fun thing to do?
Yeah. It's more of a hobby. It's not because like I said, there's nature, there's nurture, and then there's all these different other types of ways that a personality can form, right? Or an individual. So it's not just, you are this, I'm not going to talk to you, or I know you do this. I don't judge people based on their sign. I just think it's a general interesting influence, right? Yeah. For example, earth signs are usually a lot more grounded. They like to plan and organize, versus fire signs are a lot more spontaneous. Now, not that they could both be outgoing, but I feel like fire signs are usually run without thinking, and earth signs usually think before they act. So that's just a general characteristic for either sign.
All right. That seems like a very testable model of people and their personalities. We'd love to see more about that in the testing. Great. Anything else to talk about?
Are you going to say your sign now? Do you know it?
I do know my sign.
When were you born? Like, when's your birthday?
I'd rather not say.
Oh, okay.
Even though you say people you don't judge people on their signs. I find that people tend to do that. And I'd love to have you judge me in other ways.
Okay.
Or like just get to know me in other ways. Potentially.
And so your viewers, like this is on YouTube, right?
Yep.
They don't know your sign.
I've had a bunch of conversations, and I've revealed my sign there. They could find out.
Oh. And why don't you don't want to say it now because you don't want me to judge you? I'm not gonna judge you. I'm just curious now since we're talking about it.
I'd rather not say.
Okay. Like I mentioned, I don't know enough about every single sign. I know mainly mine. So.
Okay. Great.
Can you say, are you an earth sign? Do you know? Fire, air, water.
How do you know what kind of sign those are?
Like I said, I don't know all of them, but I know that like earth signs are Virgo, Capricorn, and Taurus.
It depends on your star sign. The earth sign, the fire, earth, fire, air, water. And those are connected. How does someone determine which of those 4 signs they are? It depends on their month they were born or the day they were born?
Yeah, so they're categorized differently. So like I mentioned, those 3 are earth signs. And then the wall, I can't even say. I know that Cancer is a water sign. Aquarius is also Cancer, Pisces, and I think Aquarius are water signs. And then I can't tell the difference between air and fire because I don't know too many people that are those. So
okay.
Yeah.
Like maybe based on the season, the quarter.
Yeah.
Breaking up in the year, there's 4 of them, 4 quarters.
It's just a way to distinct them and like have them in a family, but it's not like
Gotcha.
So you don't know which one yours falls into.
I don't. No.
So that means you're air or fire, probably.
Oh really? Okay.
Well, because I don't know those, and I named those other ones, so.
Okay. Great.
I don't know what those, like I said, I don't know anything about those really. I just want you to say. I'm curious now. Yeah.
But
I'm a Virgo. I can say I'm a Virgo.
if you knew what my sign was, what would that mean for you?
It's just fun. It's like, oh, you're this. Like, cool. It's kind of like, where are you from? Oh, cool.
Yeah, you're getting some information about me that I'm not giving you.
I also know when your birthday is, which is also fun. It's like asking when's your birthday.
Yeah. It's an inference about my personality potentially and other things.
It could be, but I honestly mainly just ask because it's just like something that's interesting to know. Like, but I don't care. It's not like I'm gonna say, oh, you're this, and that means this. It makes sense why you're creating this podcast because you're a Capricorn or whatever. Like, that doesn't make sense to me.
It allows you to make sense of me better.
Just get to know you, in a sense, to the capacity that we could get to know each other in this conversation.
Could you get to know me without knowing anything about my astrological stuff?
Sure, of course.
Which is a better way?
I mean, I wouldn't say there's a better way. It's just because we were talking about it, so I just want to know. It's not like I'm going to know you anymore because I know your sign. I'll know when your birthday is, so I could assume how your birthday celebrations were growing up. For example, mine was in the summer, so you'd assume it was a lot more fun versus if it was in the winter, you know?
Okay. Interesting.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I'll still keep it secret.
Still keep it secret. Okay, yeah. That's fine.
But, thanks, Samantha. Anything else to talk about? Any other questions?
I think that's it for now, because I do need to head out soon. But this was fun.
Thank you. Yeah, I have a YouTube channel there.
Yeah.
And I like to offer as a gift, as a reminder of the conversation, one of those little yellow, red, or blue puzzle pieces. Feel free to take one.
These?
Yeah. They're like little stress ball things.
Cool.
You can take a piece, and if you see me again, come back and have another conversation, get another piece.
Yeah, I'm curious, do you go to any other campuses? Or do you just come to UCLA?
It was just this one for now.
Oh, okay.
And unfortunately, I'm probably not going to be back for a while. I'm going home for the holidays.
So you're not from LA?
I am from LA. I do live here, but I'm going to be home for a while because of construction at my place.
Oh, okay. So you're from LA?
Originally from Virginia. Yeah, but I've lived here since 2011.
All right. Okay. Well, you have a good day. Take these off.
Cool. Thank you.
Ooh, it's so...
It's different.
Yeah.
Awesome. Have a great day.
You too. Thanks.
Thank you.
My water.
Yep. Got everything. Way up there.